Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we will be... Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we will be revisiting Saryn. Alright, now, by popular demand, a lot of people were asking for the color stuff for all of these, so I'm going to do them really quickly at the beginning of every one of these videos. Now this one was actually mainly inspired due to the fact that somebody had left a comment and really got me thinking. I was like, that's kind of ingenious. It's kind of ingenious, and it's just a small line of text that really kind of got me to think about Saryn. Now, let me go ahead and jump into the build, and what I really liked about Saryn, and I did not think about this until like this very moment as it is, to be honest with you. As we know, her miasma is triggered, or her miasma gets a damage boost whenever it is applied to enemies that currently have the toxin proc and currently have the viral proc on them. So it's 100 apiece for each of those statuses. And I just really thought, I was like, you know what? That is actually a little bit ingenious. So the first build that we're taking a look at that I showed you guys, this is actually my ranged build. We'll be swapping to a melee build in a little bit. But let's go ahead and let's do some cool farming, because I am very... Ooh, let's save that. Ooh, there's a capture. Ooh, what do I want? Ooh, survival. Let's do the survival. I don't really like infestation all that much, to be honest with you, though. What else do we got? We got Phobos. What do you got on Phobos? What do you got on Phobos? Rescue, assassination, mobile defense. Get prepared to die a lot. Get prepared to die a lot. So, the real thing that I liked about Saryn is there is something at her core gameplay that really incentivizes spreading disease. And, you know, previous iterations of her were really not focused on that. It was just basically, you know, just spam the same ability over and over and over. But we won't really get into that, because that's not really what we're trying to focus on at this point in time. But what I kind of wanted to cover was how kind of like flexible she got. And I kind of like loved it, because initially I was very rigid in my playstyle with her. It was very much, I did not bring the appropriate elemental combo, by the way. And I haven't brought the appropriate elemental combo to these floods in a long goddamn time, which I really should start doing. But the thing that I liked about Saryn was because of the fact that I kind of rediscovered her as almost this ranged champion, which I never really played her as before, but I just find it cool that she had the potential to kind of do that. But a main thing for me when I was using her is I always kind of had her as a survivability frame. So it was always a lot of melee. Oh, who's this? Who's this dying? Who's this dying? I always had her kind of like as a survivability frame, which kind of went in there and brawled. And she would use rage to fuel herself, and you know, she would use channeling to continuously kind of keep her up with her health. But, and regenerating molt was kind of just like a thing that I used on the side. It wasn't anything that I really prioritized. What is happening everywhere? Actually, let's do a little bit of this. Oh, and this is really where Saryn just gets a little nutso. Did I put Toxic Lash on? Yep, Toxic Lash is on. Oh, why you gotta be so stanky? Oh my god, that is just... That just hurts my soul in, like, all the best ways. Oh my god. So, that's the flexibility right there. Because of the fact that you can kind of move from ranged into melee, Saryn really kind of provides a lot of different gameplay. And, now let's talk about the text that I was talking about. Previous to this, I really got to thinking. It's a very simple line of text when we talk about Saryn. Saryn's miasma deals bonus damage to enemies affected by viral and toxic. Now, they could have made that line into anything else. Enemies that are currently affected by spore, enemies that, you know, had attack molts, You know what I mean? Or are within range of a molt or something like that. That could have been anything else, but instead what they did to it is they gave it this really cool flexibility where you didn't necessarily need to use the ability. All you had to do was spread the status. And that I found absolutely ingenious because you had multiple ways to spread the status. You could either spread the status by using abilities, you could use it by using high status weapons, you could use, you could use you could use Spore to spread Toxin, because as we know, Spores will spread both the viral and Toxin damage, as long as if an enemy is inflicted with Toxin. And as we know, sorry, and as we know, her Toxic Lash gives all of her melee abilities, including the crazy radial thing from the Telos Boltus. It gives that the ability to spread Toxin as well. So anything inflicted with Toxin, which the Telos Boltus will do, in conjunction with the use of Spores, just makes it even more stanky. And that's the thing, is like a lot of the times just that combination will get the job done, and it just feels really, really good because of the fact that it does not necessarily have to be the ability specifically. It can be the ability, it can be a weapon, it can be whatever it is that you need it. Oh, is it already dead? No, it's right there. It's hiding from me. It's hiding from me. To give you that damage amp. And I just kind of, I know it sounds really weird for me to really fanboy over that kind of stuff, but legitimately it's just a very subtle technique that says, hey, listen, you have the freedom to apply this status any way you want. We're passively, because as we know, her passive also gives bonuses to, oh baby, he's poor Aspen's been dying all day long, and I don't want to be next. I don't want to be next. Let's drop a little bit of you. Let's get you alive. But yeah, it's such a small line of text. It's something really, really simple, and they could have made it work. They could have made it work a different way. They could have turned it into a completely different thing, but instead they gave it this flexibility, and because of her passive, they increased its efficacy because of it. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of like, you did good, DE. Now I know a lot of people were like this. I know that her rework was very, very divisive. A lot of people either loved it, really hated it, whatever. Personally, of course, you guys know I was very vocal about the fact that I liked it. Oh, what's happening? Am I going this way? Yeah, I was very vocal about liking it, and mainly because of the fact that it really improved her presence on the battlefield. And the thing about it is that it proved her presence on the battlefield in such a way that a lot of people did not recognize. And as I stated in a video before, oh my god, why do they turn you around? You saw that. I was facing this way, and then I came out as my child the opposite way. Why? Is that necessary? Not necessary. Don't do this to me. Listen. Whoop. I'm shit enough as it is. Don't do this to me. No, stop it. You too. Come on, energy. Come on, energy. Oh, well, I guess I'll use the energy for this. Did I miss that completely? No, I got it. But yeah, it's the little things. It's the little things, and a part of me is just very. I've had a lot more fun now that I kind of started thinking about Saryn outside of her own ability box. And sometimes it takes that. There's a lot of creative people out there. Like for me, usually when I first look at it, I'm like, all right, how does this kit work with itself? And that's kind of the black and white of it. However, when you start looking outside of the box with Saryn, with things like the Telos Boltus and like giving yourself Toxic Lash on top of it to help spread the spores, she becomes insanely powerful. And people, I don't think people realize it, but, we're literally taking enemies down to half health and then applying damage on top of that. So while you see the damage numbers, the damage numbers may not be that big, you see Spore kind of like ticking off a few ticks here and there. You combine that with the fact that you're taking enemies down by half, and it's almost kind of like you're dealing double the damage to them. And And a lot of people like the overt, you know what I mean? In this game, they want to see those big, massive damage numbers. They're like size queens, but when it comes to damage, they're like, I want everything to be these massive numbers and yada yada yada, this and that and this and that. And a lot of people forget that sometimes it's about, and I think it happens too. Like if you look at the what do you call this? If you look at the, what is this thing called? Oh my god, are you for real again? If you look at the twin Grakadas, like just looking at the numbers on it alone, like at just the small tiny little bits of numbers, and maybe that's why I like them so much together. If you just look at the little bits of damage it doesn't seem all too impressive. But when you see just like how overwhelming the force is, you know what I mean? Just how many ticks go off in the time, how it like reduces, well, how viral reduces enemies' health. Things work in a lot subtler ways than we realize. And I don't think that people appreciate that as much. You know, everybody wants the big, and that's what I think people miss real big time about, you know, Saryn's original miasma was the fact that they just had this big damage explosion, but they didn't realize that all of her other abilities are now working so well in sync with each other that she can still output a whole lot by stacking damage. And this is gonna be a really weird reference. I don't know if anybody else played these kind of games, but it's almost the difference between, like, if you're an RPG, or the difference between a warlock, I completely fucked that up, but if you're doing the difference between a warlock and a wizard in a lot of games, or a necromancer or a wizard, it really depends on which variant you had, because I played EverQuest 2, and warlocks were all about stacking the dots. You stack like 5 dots on, and all of a sudden enemies just start falling left, right, and center. And it's because everything is so diseased and everything is weakened and all that kind of stuff that all of a sudden, you know, you just, even though the dots don't seem that big, just the amount of stuff that happens when you pile it on, it's kind of amazing. As opposed to wizards, which had oh my god, I sound so fucking geeky. As opposed to wizards who had abilities like mana burn, you know, where they would just unleash this massive, they would just literally unload all of their mana into one massively powerful shot. You know what I mean? Just to go ahead and outright blast an enemy down in a single blast. You know, like you look at bows and you look at snipers and you're like, oh, look at how much damage I did right then and there. But with Saryn, it's very much like death by 1,000 needles kind of thing, or death by a thousand cuts. Except this time it's like death by 1,000 like spores, or, you know, STDs. It's like everything kind of compounds together and makes her extremely powerful, as you can see right there. Technically we're tied. But look at how many more kills I got, right? Because I'm Saryn and I'm cool. What were you playing? Well, I'm curious to see what metal was playing. Maybe they were just really, really good, you know, because of my overwhelming skill. Oh shit. They're gone. Ah, well. Now, that was actually one of my builds, and that's my current favorite build that I was showing you, that I showed you a little bit earlier. That's really what I've been playing around with. But I also used this, which is supposed to be my melee build. And I usually use that with something where I like go all in. Let's bring out, where are you? Let's find, I want a big old sword. It's a big sword. I don't remember its name. Galatine. Like, what are you called now? But yeah, so this is actually one of the things, and for those of you guys who don't know, I've been playing around with a lot of like statusy stuff, and this is definitely one of the things that made my list. What if we like push this into just straight up toxin? Ooh, but that kills its status a little bit. Oh wait, I don't need to push it in. I don't need to push it into status because I've got built-in toxin. What am I talking about? Saryn has built-in toxin, you dummy. Of course, I'm probably gonna need something. Ooh, let's see if I can try out that one statusy thing. If I have enough mod slots for it, because that thing is like 16. Jeebus. Where are you? You're a V somewhere? Where are you? Oh my god, what is it called? I was looking for viral. Vicious Frost. There you go. I think I'm only gonna have enough to put in Life Strike. Unless I get rid of this, but I don't really want to get rid of Organ Shatter. I think I might have to get rid of organ chatter. It's okay. Let's do this. I've never tried this before, so we'll find out really quickly if it's shit or not. Oh, no, we won't, because I don't have enough hotspots for it. So, there you go. There's Life Strike for you. Now we know. One of the things that I did not point out was the fact that... Do I have a coloration for this? I have 2 for... apparently I have 2 for... I had 2 for what's-his-face. What is this dark color? No? What is this color? Why is that not the black color? What are we talking about here? Is this it? There you go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, but one of the things that I didn't point out was the big synergy that they had for her, which was the fact that she regained energy from hitting enemies with spores. And that's been one of my favorite things with her, is that literally because there's so few enemies that this is what I wanted. Or wait, is there a better one? Capture, survival. Let's do the survival. Why not? Why fucking not? Let's do the survival. Is that you can build her to pull in energy. And that's one of the things that, people are like, it's only 2 energy. It's only 2 energy. Well, enemies have 6 spores, or enemies have 2 spores on them. Or no, 3 spores on them. Whoops. All the stats are going out of my head. Enemies have let's just do your thing. Just do a thing. Enemies have 3 spores on them apiece, which means that each enemy can equate to 6 energy. You're also in the middle of battle. So what ends up happening is that you're going to be taking hits at the same time. So you get some energy back from rage, you get some energy back from spores, you get energy from all over the place, so you can easily maintain, well, maybe not easily, depends on like what your channeling build is like, but you can maintain a channeling build better than a lot of other players. Why aren't you starting? Listen, I've only got so much dialogue, I've only got so many things that I can cover, sweet baby Jesus, just go ahead and start the goddamn mission. Oh my god, why do you need to do this to me? Come on, just go. Just go. You're not even gonna go. We'll do the assassination then, god damn it. It's telling me, or we'll do the exterminate. Let's do the exterminate. There you go. Nobody wanted to do the survival, apparently. But yeah, so that's the cool thing, is that you never actually, because of the fact that she is really powerful with her Toxic Lash and really powerful with her spores, she can even throw down a molt if you need to throw down a molt. But really, her ultimate is just icing on top of the cake, which a lot of Warframes really have that as their defining ability. And I mean, that's great, but not all Warframes have to have their ultimate as their only defining ability, right? There's lots of options. There's lots of options for things that you can do within the game, and as we talked about, there's lots of different ways to play. There's a lot of different types of enemies that you can play around with. Oh, and she always excels when there's like a ton of enemies around, and that always makes you feel good. When you see like a million spores spreading just everywhere, you're like, oh, so pretty. It's so pretty. Come on. Wait, remember you got... What? Where'd you go? You literally reversed. You literally reversed. Ooh. Come on. Can we get multiples? No, I have no energy. So, yeah, so that's kind of like been my big thing about Saryn is, is this the Juggernaut? Is this the Juggernaut? And as you can see right now, I've actually... She's got a decent tankiness to her, especially if you use, and I actually don't have the appropriate one equipped. Oh, my mortal enemy. He's literally my mortal enemy. But now you die. You die at my hands. Who's the better infested? Me. But yeah, so that's kind of like been my thing about Saryn is I really like all of the different things that you can do with her. I was like, it's gonna turn into a sex joke at some point. I know it is. And the fact that you can approach the situation in so many different ways. There are a lot of frames that I feel that are a little bit more rigid in their playstyle, which kind of sucks. But it's kind of, rigid. That kind of rigidity is great if you need to guide players in order to do certain things. And I think that a lot of people who used to play Saryn really were used to a very simple frame. you know, but now Saryn's got a whole lot more complexity. She's got way better scaling. She can aid the team in ways that she couldn't before, rather than just sitting there spamming the same ability over and over. However, I'm not gonna lie, there's certain things that I wish for, and one of the biggest ones is like, oh, just 5 more meters on her ultimate. I could just 5 more meters on her ultimate will be so nice. It would be so nice. Let me get a 2 for. Oh, what? Okay, well the siphon is dead. That's always a good thing. But yeah, so it's kind of like with Saryn now, you get a lot of different kinds of flexibility. You get melee, you get what is it called? You get melee, you get ranged. And that's the thing too, is I never really thought, because miasma drops right where you stand, I never really thought about using it as kind of like a ranged engagement tool, but it's actually really, it actually works really well, especially up against ranged factions too, because they'll end up shooting it, they'll end up infecting, you know, not allies, but enemies around that area. And as you can see, Spore is like spreading in, like I'm not even there, and Spore just keeps going and going and going. I was playing Sorties earlier today, and we had played a Flood where we just were not very good at that moment in time. And what ended up happening is I was lying there, but my spores were ticking away. And it was kind of like an amazing feeling. I'm like, yes, okay, maybe I'm dead. maybe I am dead. However, good for me, I'm still contributing to the team. Like my spores will go on and okay, just let's cut the singing there. But no, so those are pretty much my thoughts on Saryn. I've had a lot more fun with her now than I did before, and understand too, back in the day, I loved me some Saryn. I loved old Saryn, and I love new Saryn even better. I'm definitely up for both. Do I miss the old Saryn spammability? No, because legitimately I ran around just smashing. Ignore this, okay? Listen, they were running ahead of me all the time, but still the spores were there, so I was still contributing, and I was trying to talk to you. But regardless, no, I've had a ton of fun with Saryn in both of her incarnations, in a melee incarnation, in a ranged incarnation. The fact that her abilities are defined by the status effect and not necessarily an ability effect. You know what I mean? Because it could have been any ability. It could have been. They could have stuck strictly to the abilities and been very limiting with that. But the fact that they left it open to, let's say, hey, listen, do you want to do this with maybe the Zenistar? You know, do you want to throw down your crazy flaming contraption and have it, you know, add toxin procs or have it add gas procs and let it spread like that? I mean, hell, you could use a Saryn Naramon build. You can, Saryn with a Naramon build using gas on your melee, alright? So she's invisible. Gas on your melee. You toss on the viral to spread the spores. If something's big, you toss on the miasma to stagger it. Like, that's some really insane shit that you can do with Saryn. Yep, that worked. And that's kind of what I love, is because of the fact that they gave you the freedom to do it, but it took a little bit more of the high-level thinking, as opposed to where Saryn was before, where it's like you built for short duration miasma and you just spam. And I hate to say it, a lot of those builds were copy and paste builds. So you would just go to like a YouTuber, you would just go to someplace on the forums, you just copy someone's build, and then you would just go into a mission and you run around and spam. I did it. Of course, I came up with my own build. You know, it was me. But, you know, I've done it. But now, the fact that literally I could sit here and I could be like, well, you could take Naramon, the gas thing that, you know, everybody's doing with their melees right now, mix that with Saryn's, you know, Toxic Lash, and Spores on top of that, icing on the cake is your miasma, like, boom, Saryn's insane. Saryn's insane. And, you know, that's kind of like the creativity that comes with new Saryn versus old cookie cutter, here is your miasma built Saryn. So I know that there's a lot of people that were really hung up over the old version versus the new version and really didn't like that transition. I thought it was a fucking amazing transition. If you could name any other frames, and this is just me asking you guys, I want to know what you guys think are really cool, mechanically interesting frames that require a little bit of a higher level of thinking. I know Limbo's one. Okay, the cataclysm thing with the rift surge, and you go in with the Narrowmon and you do the slash. Oh my god, that one's so good. And like, a lot of people don't think outside of the box like that. But anyway, leave that in the comments below. What else do you think is a really cool high level synergy? This is kind of like the every other Tuesday synergies I was talking about. Every other Tuesdays. And for those of you guys who don't know what every other Tuesday synergies are, they're synergies where I literally break down and say, I was like, all right, well, you know, you have to use this Warframe with this build, using this focus, with this weapon, with these elements on that weapon, and you can only do it every other Tuesday, and only if you are a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. That's it. That's all you get. And so that's what I mean by every other Tuesday builds. They're very, very specific, but they can be absolutely devastating, and they require a little bit of outside of the box thinking. Took me a long time to get to that conclusion, but that's the conclusion that I'm gonna leave it at. Thank you to everybody who actually made it through all of this video, because I'm sure there's many of you that probably dropped off before the end. But as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. And I need to go farm some more Kuva because I got a shit ton of ribbons I need to reroll. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.